It is difficult to appreciate just how far artificial intelligence has advanced and how far it is advancing, because we have a double exponential at work. We have an exponential increase in hardware capability, and we have an exponential increase in software talent that is going into AI. So whenever you have a double exponential, it's very difficult to predict. People's predictions are almost always going to be too conservative in terms of thinking it'll be further out than it is. People thought defeating Go was either never or 20 years away. That was the world's best Go player was defeated. And now that same AlphaGo system can defeat the top 50 players simultaneously with 0% of chance of them winning. Yep. And that's 1 year later. So the degrees of freedom to which artificial intelligence is able to apply itself are really increasing. I think the part of the role of government is to make sure the public is safe, like to take care of public safety issues. And I think the right move is to establish some government regulatory agency which at first is just there to gain insight. So it's not about like shooting from the hip and just putting in rules before anyone knows anything, but you've got to set up the agency. It's got to gain insight. Once that insight is gained, then start applying rules and regulations. We have that for for aircraft, the food, and I don't think anyone wants the FAA to go away or the FDA to go away or any of those regulatory agencies. I think we just need to make sure people do not cut corners on AI safety. It's going to be a real big deal, and it's going to come on like a tidal wave.
I watched a recent interview with Elon Musk, and his largest fear for future was AI. What are your thoughts on AI and how it could affect the world? I have pretty strong opinions on this. I'm really optimistic. Right? I'm an optimistic person in general. I think you can build things and the world gets better. But with AI especially, I'm really optimistic. And I think that people who are naysayers and kind of try to drum up these doomsday scenarios are, I don't understand it. I think it's really negative. And in some ways I actually think it's pretty irresponsible. Because in the next 5 to 10 years, AI is going to deliver so many improvements in the quality of our lives. If you think about just safety and health and keeping people safe, AI is already helping us basically diagnose diseases better, match up drugs with people depending on what they're sick, so that way they can get treated better. So it's going to help a whole lot of people get treated and get better health care than would have had access to it before. If you look at self-driving cars, they're going to be safer than people driving cars. That's only a matter of time. And one of the top causes of death for people is car accidents still. And if you could eliminate that with AI, that is going to be just a dramatic improvement in people's lives. So whenever I hear people saying, AI is gonna hurt people in the future, I think, technology can generally always be used for good and bad, and you need to be careful about how you build it. You need to be careful about what you build and how it's going to be used. But people who are arguing for slowing down the process of building AI, I just find that really questionable, right? I have a hard time wrapping my head around that, because if you're arguing against AI, then you're arguing against safer cars that aren't going to have accidents. And you're arguing against being able to better diagnose people when they're sick. And I just don't see how in good conscience of some people can do that. So I'm just much more optimistic on this in general than probably a lot of folks are. What's up?
Speaking of really important problems, AI. So you have been outspoken about AI. Could you talk about what you think the positive future for AI looks like and how we get there?
Okay, I do want to emphasize that this is not really something that I advocate or this is not prescriptive. This is simply hopefully predictive. Because people sometimes say, well, like this is something that I want to occur instead of this is something I think that probably is the best of the available alternatives. The best of the available alternatives that I can come up with, and maybe somebody else can come up with a better approach or better outcome, is that we achieve democratization of AI technology, meaning that no one company or small set of individuals has control over advanced AI technology. I think that that's very dangerous. It could also get stolen by somebody bad, like some evil dictator or country could send their intelligence agency to go steal it and gain control. It just becomes a very unstable situation, I think, if you've got any incredibly powerful AI. You just don't know who's going to control that. So it's not as though I think that the risk is that the AI would develop a will of its own right off the bat. I think it's more that's the concern is that someone may use it in a way that is bad, and even if they weren't going to use it in a way that's bad, that somebody could take it from them and use it in a way that's bad. That I think is quite a big danger. So I think we must have democratization of AI technology and make it widely available, and that's the reason that obviously Yumi and the rest of the team created OpenAI was to help with the help spread out AI technology so it doesn't get concentrated in the hands of a few.
Well, I think the first bit of advice would be to really pay close attention to the development of artificial intelligence. I think we need to just be very careful in how we adopt artificial intelligence and to make sure that researchers don't get carried away. Because sometimes what happens is a scientist can get so engrossed in their work, they don't necessarily realize the ramifications of what they're doing. So I think it's important for public safety that governments keep a close eye on artificial intelligence and make sure that it does not represent a danger to the public. The percentage of intelligence that is not human is increasing, and eventually we will represent a very small percentage of intelligence. I try to convince people to slow down AI, to regulate AI. This was futile. I tried for years. Usually there'll be some new technology. It will cause damage. There will be an outcry. There will be investigation. Years will pass. There will be some sort of insight committee. There will be rulemaking. Then there will be oversight, eventually regulations. This all takes many years. This is the normal course of things. This time frame is not relevant to AI. You can't take 10 years from the point at which it's dangerous. It's too late. But one thing is for sure, we will not control it. I think particularly when you see the advancement of something like video games, like say 40 years ago, you had video games, the most advanced video game would be like Pong, where you had like two rectangles and a dot, like batting it back and forth.
I played it.
Oh yeah, me too, exactly. I played
old.
Pong. Exactly, it sort of dates you a little bit, but yeah, we both played the same game. And that was like, wow, that was a pretty fun game at the time. But now you can see a video game that's photorealistic, almost photorealistic, and millions of people playing simultaneously. And you see where things are going with virtual reality and augmented reality. And if you extrapolate that out into the future with any rate of progress at all, like even 0.1% or something like that a year, then eventually those games will be indistinguishable from reality. They'll be so realistic, you will not be able to tell the difference between that game and the reality as we know it. And then it seems like, well, how do we know that that didn't happen in the past and that we're not in one of those games ourselves?
So you and I had a short debate on artificial intelligence last night, and I want to bring that topic up here too. I also understand, Elon, recently you said that artificial intelligence advances is like summoning the demon. That generated a lot of hot debate. Baidu's chief scientist Andrew Ng recently said during an interview that worrying about the dark side of artificial intelligence is like worrying about overpopulation on Mars. How would you address that? He said it's a distraction to with the scientists in artificial intelligence.
I think that's a sort of radically inaccurate analogy. I know a bit about Mars. So the risks with sort of digital superintelligence, and it's important to appreciate that it wouldn't be just human level; it would be superhuman almost immediately. It would just zip right past humans to be way beyond anything we can really imagine. I think a more appropriate analogy would be like if you consider, say, nuclear research, with there's potential for a very dangerous weapon, releasing the energy is easy. Containing that energy safely is very difficult. And so I think the right emphasis for AI research is on AI safety. We should put vastly more effort into AI safety than we should put into advancing AI in the first place. Because it may be good or it may be bad. And it could be catastrophically bad. It could be the equivalent of nuclear meltdown. So you really want to emphasize safety. So I'm not against the advancement of AI. I want to really be clear about this. But I do think we should be extremely careful. And if that means it takes a bit longer to develop AI, then I think that's the right trade-off. We shouldn't be rushing headlong into something that we don't understand.
Bill, I know you share similar views with Elon, but is there any difference between you and him?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, he actually put some money out to help get some of the coin on this, and I think that is absolutely fantastic. You know, for people in the audience who want to read about this, I highly recommend this Boston book called Superintelligence. But the basic point that Elon just made, that we have a general purpose learning algorithm that evolution has endowed us with. And it's running in an extremely slow computer. Very limited memory size, ability to send data to other computers. We have to use this funny mouth thing here. And
But it's also
whenever we build a new one that starts over,
efficient.
it doesn't know how to walk.
It's a really long root process.
Yeah. So believe me, as soon as this algorithm taking experience and turning it into knowledge, which is so amazing, and of course we have not done in software. As soon as you do that, it's not clear you'll even know when you're just at the human level. You'll be at this superhuman level almost as soon as that algorithm is implanted in silicon. And you know, actually as time goes by, that silicon piece is even ready to be implanted. The amount of knowledge, as soon as it has that learning algorithm, it just goes out on the internet and reads all the magazines and books and things like that. We have essentially been building the content base for the superintelligence. You think you're using the internet, that's actually what you're doing. So, you know, I try not to get too exercised about this, but when people say it's not a problem, that really, then I can start to get really in a point of disagreement. How can they not see what a huge challenge this is?
We all understand this will have huge impacts in the society in the future, and many companies, including Microsoft and Baidu, will all invest heavily in artificial intelligence.